you bought a car, right? And then as you drive in the car, at some point you realize that you have to change a tire. Then you reach into your toolbox and you find out that you don't have a spanner. So you need a spanner, right? And so you go to the guy who sold you the car, he says, I don't have a spanner. And he says, well, when you were buying the car, you didn't tell me that you were going to need a spanner. I'm just trying to be simplistic.
Okay.
And so if I have to give you a spanner to be able to do what you're asking me to do now, you have to pay for it. So in a sense, you have to tell me, you should have told me everything that you needed in specific detail so that I could have priced all of that in ex ante, right? Mm-hmm. And then there wouldn't be any price escalation. I'll just give you a very simplistic example. So let's come back to our case. So the software that was procured was supposed to be something that was existing. And I think that is how they advertised it. Something that was existing that could do pretty much a lot of the things that we were looking to do, but to be customized to suit our environment, to take care of the idiosyncrasies of the scheme that we're running. And so there was supposed to be some customization of that software. Okay. In that process, if there is anything else that you need that you didn't state, it constitutes a change. And that change is billable.
Okay.
Right? So along the line, there are so many of these changes that came along. And we call them change requests. And all those are documented.
Okay. And that's Raymond Akwa on Upfront speaking to the boss of SNIT. And, well, we already have our guest in the studio. Former Member of Parliament for Nantoy, former Deputy Trade Minister, Mutala Mohammed is my guest. Thank you for joining me, Mutala.
Thank you.
This is the first time on the segment, right?
No, I've been here. I've been here a couple of times, but it's been a long time.
A long time,
yes.
Okay. All right. And then Henry Kwabna Kukufu is a regular, former Member of Parliament for Bantama, legal practitioner. And thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Okay. But first, let's speak on the subject of the SNIT boss and all the things that have been said, etc. And I start with you, Mr. Kukufu. It looks as if we only get to hear about these things when the new government comes into power, and for all the things that we've been hearing, it doesn't sound pleasant to the ear, wouldn't you say?
Good morning to your cherished viewers, as usual, my people in the Ashanti region, for that matter, in Bantama.
You'll be the next regional chairman.
Good morning to the president of the land, the family,
he's contesting for regional chairman,
and the entire New Patriotic Party leadership. You know, we are trekking down to Cape Coast.
You're going yourself?
Yeah. From here, I'm getting ready to go to Ekumfi to join the president Cardisford for the One Factory, One District program, and then further on to Cape Coast to join fellow Kukudites to commemorate the occasion of our conference, annual delegates conference. The SNIT ZAC, I've had opportunity to listen to the Director General, Dr. Furi. Good morning to him. He's a personal friend.
He's your personal friend?
Yeah, he's a good friend. And then I've read a few things about what really went in there. And I must comment, the new board, the reconstituted board, headed by Dr. Honorable Kwame Adokufo, who happens to be a former defense minister, former interior minister, under His Excellency J. Kufuor's government. The board have actually instituted what you call, is it forensic auditing? Anyway, it's auditing of...
Value for money audit.
Yeah.
Forensic audit.
Yeah, auditing for the operations of SNIT. And it has come to fore that a whole software machinery or product procured for SNIT to advance its course of work has cost the nation about $72 million. And for that matter, SNIT is still paying, even though the contract is not, the execution of the contract is not wholly or fully done. It's a very shocking news to the people of Ghana at this stage where we find ourselves in doldrums of despondency when it comes to public financial management systems. And you asked a very pertinent question. You said all these things pop up when new governments come in. And that is the beauty of democracy, and that is the beauty of change in administration with time, so that you do not continue to do old things and expect new results. Occasions of transition in governance or government changing hands brings in its wake a whole lot of advantages, even though one may also cite some kind of disadvantages. It is an advantage in this case because those sitting there, those perpetuating whatever, is it the waste, embezzlement, misappropriation, or whatever, they are still there and they are supervising. And who watches the watchman? When you have a country like Ghana where systems put in place, state institutions mandated to do monitoring and evaluation of public account system, public enterprises, their operations, they are so weak and incapacitated that they are unable to undertake core mandates, then this is what you have on your hands. So upon changing government, upon changing officialdom, you breathe in new, fresh air, and then you look into what suspiciously might not be right things. Sometimes, I agree, it may be speculative, it may be some kind of wild allegations or wild goose chase. But all same, it's important that all these things are brought to the fore. Investigation goes on, ascertain the facts from the non-facts, the truth from the non-truths. And if it is established, the facts are backed by evidence, then of course those who are culpable needs to be dealt with according to the law. So we must be grateful to the new management at SNIT for uncovering some of these things, and you come to accept and appreciate that in taking decisions for state enterprises, taking such important decisions that cost so much to the state, one needs to be prudent and one needs to be very, very, very circumstantial. There is a report that one time the board chairman had a cause to complain that the Director General then spent so much money, about $34 million, without recourse to the board's approval. I mean, all these things does not go well for our governance systems and structures. So now we have a president in place, we have a government in place that seeks to protect the public purse, that seeks to instill some kind of fiscal discipline within all spheres of public administration. So it's kudos to SNIT, but then the caution must be there that we do not want another time round here that the present administration might have also indulged in some kind of misdeeds or allowed itself to be engulfed in any kind of scandals or anything of the sort. We pray to them. And people of Ghana, the poor worker, average Ghanaian worker, whose contributions have made SNIT as it is, must have value for money. You'll recall that in 2016, the National Pension Authority, also regulatory authority, had cause to complain in one of its reports that if we do not take care, by 2019, inflows of SNIT was going to be in negativity. It is also a matter of fact that World Bank report same year 2016, had predicted that if you do not take care by 2033 or so, SNIT investments will have to dry out. And all these things are signals that needs to be looked at critically. So being proactive, taking the necessary steps to reverse the negative trend as it goes on is a very positive sign. And I remember hearing the Director General assuring Ghanaians that, yes, so far their monies are safe. And for that
their contributions are safe.
Are safe. And for that matter, there's no need to panic. But then it's good they are looking into their operations and trying to get out those rotten eggs from within. Yeah.
Murtala, seems a barrage of criticism, especially against two board chairmen and then also managing director of SNIT, Ernest Thompson. Of course, we've heard their public utterances or rebuttals to the subject and counter-accusations and accusations, etc., from the current sitting management of SNIT. What do you say to
Well, let me say good morning to your cherished viewers and, of course, the good people of Nantong constituency. And my big brother here, we seem to be participating in a lot of programs together. And, of course, it's been a long time. And
maybe the chemistry gel.
Before I start, I mean, he said that we seem to have a government that is so particular about due diligence, a government. And I think that, yes, the due diligence is lopsided. 2.25 dubious, fraudulent bond. Ken bond was not, the due diligence wasn't there. The money spent on Ghana artists, the due diligence
It's not because it's a minority
that bust. It's not. He's talking about government. And I'm saying that even under his watch, bust, that fraudulent thing that happened, the due diligence was not there. 15 million Ghana cedis spent in fighting army worm infestation, out of which over 8 million Ghana cedis spent on sensitization. I don't know whether there was even adverse run on your TV station. I'm a farmer. We never had even any interactions with anybody. That is due diligence for you. But let me say that I am hearing something, and I would challenge multimedia to investigate. I'm not making this statement with certainty. I'm hearing that the Public Procurement Authority, that they signed a contract in May of an IT solution which cost about $79 million. I think multimedia should investigate that. They should be particularly interested in that. Look at that authority, a very small office which cannot be compared with SNIT. I am also going to say that we need to tread cautiously. The NDC as a political party, our position has always been consistent, that we will not shield anybody who engage in any ill. Anybody who government thinks that engage in something that was wrong ought to be prosecuted. You don't prosecute people on air. You prosecute people based on evidence. I listened to the current boss for SNIT, and I asked myself whether we are serious in this country. This is a person who has indeed contracted a firm. And know how much they're spending for them to investigate this? $500,000.
You're talking about PricewaterhouseCoopers.
$500,000
to do the audit.
Yes, $500,000. Now, if I want to go by the logic I listened, particularly from multimedia, that why there were other companies who had lower bid than the company that was given the contract to do that. I believe there will be other companies who would have done the same work that PricewaterhouseCoopers House would do and would take less. But you know why they have chosen? They want a competent and effective work to be done. So I think that we need to look at it. The narrative was also that, oh, an IT solution, just a software. It has turned out that the thing is more than just a software. And by the way, this current management have spent over $6 million so far. $6 million. $6 million so far they have spent. Why would they spend such monies if they are convinced that what happened there was not right? If they are convinced that what happened there was not right. And I think that we need to depoliticize some of these things. Look, if anybody did something wrong, that person ought to be prosecuted. We have never reneged on that position. We have been very consistent. And our position has been that government has a responsibility to prosecute people who have indeed done something wrong. And I have always said, the reason why we have corruption in Africa, the reason why state monies are taken particularly by public official holders is because we are not being sincere and we are not being honest as politicians. And we'll come to that when we're looking at the so-called one district, one factory. Let nobody downplay the importance, the significant role of being sincere and honest as a politician. Because we send our kids to school and we expect them to be honest. We expect them to be sincere.
So you're saying, well, there's some level of dishonesty in all this?
Yes, what I'm saying is that we need to be very honest. And you see, it is important that we understand that when allegations are made, people's integrity are questioned. Their families' integrities will be questioned. I'm not saying that we should not raise allegations where we think that certain things went wrong. But we live in a country where a lot of such allegations were raised and turns out to be not. A classical example has to do with the so-called ghost names, where His Excellency the President himself, not a foot soldier, the President, announced that they have been able to expand social number of names and save this nation this amount of money. What happened? At the end of the day, we had to receive an apology from the Minister of Finance. So we need to tread cautiously. Let's investigate this. Every single person who is of interest to see this country progress should be particularly interested in ensuring that thorough investigation is done. And when the investigation is done, those who indeed unjustifiably cause either financial loss or not should face the full rigors of the law. But even in the eyes of us demanding that the investigations be done, and if there are infractions, people who engage in that should be prosecuted, we must understand that those things must be done within the ambit of law. It seems to me in this country that prosecuting people on air through the media has become a cliche. I mean, it has become the norm. That people will go on air, particularly some of you journalists, because you have an opportunity that many people do not have. You sit behind the microphones and you can make series of allegations. Tell people the truth. Don't say that it's just a software. Tell people what is involved in it. And if there are questions that people ought to answer, they ought to. Yesterday, when I was listening to the gentleman, I was asking myself,
You mean the Director General?
The Director General. I was asking myself, is it that multimedia took steps to invite the former Director General so that he would also tell us his side of the story, and he refused to come or not? As I sit here, I do not know. But I shudder to think that such moves were not made. Because if such moves were made and the person declined, we would have been told that, yes, for fairness, we have invited this person also to tell us his side of the story. That has not happened. Culture says there are three sides to every story: your side, my side, and the truth. So it is absolutely unfair if you put out a story of one side and repeatedly create the impression that there was some massive looting. I am a contributor to SNIT. You are, all of us are. So it is our money. But tell us the truth and let us be very fair in terms of the media, in terms of what's the name, the exposure that we have. That bring all sides of the coin. Let them explain to us. Let the investigation. But my brother, why would you spend $500,000 for an investigation? Even before they start the auditing, you have already pronounced people guilty. Natural justice, it frowns upon natural justice. Even before. Now, why would you then spend money if you are convinced that some people engage in wrong? Then you didn't need to spend the SNIT contributor $500,000 to ask people to do the auditing. If you are spending that money for auditing, why would you come out and pronounce the people for whom they are going to be audited, who is these that are going to be audited, as people who have indeed done wrong? I really don't think that is fair. And I don't think that that is the way to go. You ask a question, that any time at all we have a change in government, these things happen.
Yeah, we seem to have that phenomenon.
You know the reason.
And it happened in 2009.
No, yes.
The
you know the reason. You know the reason. The reason is simple. Tell me any elections or change in leadership in this country, whether through the ballot or through the gun, that corruption is not used as a basis for justification for the change. Even when Nkrumah was overthrown, Nkrumah, who left office without even a structure, Nkrumah, whose dresses he even wrote on them, property of Ghana, they made series of allegations of corruptions against him and used that as a basis. Of course, there could be other reasons to overthrow him. Those who overthrew Nkrumah, how were they also overthrown? Corruption became also another thing. It went down with military leadership till we have this fourth Republican Constitution. In 2000 elections, corruption, how former President Rawlings was extremely corrupt, how Nana Konadu was corrupt, this was what the MPP used. That anchored their campaign. Okay, of course, today they are best of friends. That anchored the campaign of the MPP. In 2008, NDC also used corruption against MPP.
So your point is?
So when you win an elections, you would want to showcase, to demonstrate to the electorate that when I said these people were corrupt, and for which reason, You get me the mandate, I have to prove to you that they are indeed corrupt. And I think that that has also fed into some of the things we do. In 2000, 3 people were prosecuted. Even before the prosecution, they were prosecuted in the public court, Adam, Ibrahim, and co. But look at the ruling of Justice Afre, that they were not corrupt. They didn't benefit. What happened was what? Negligence. So I'm saying that you have series of such allegations. We need to understand that corruption is destroying this country, and we ought to depoliticize it. If I sit here and anybody in NDC engage in corruption, I would never want to defend such a person.
So you're saying that,
but I'm saying that we should.
The evidence must be produced, adduced in court, and at the end of the day.
You see, my brother, you go to court. You don't prosecute for the purposes of prosecution. The purpose for every prosecution is to attain conviction. If not, why would you waste your time to? You attain conviction, one, so that it will serve as deterrence to those who would want to engage in such ills in the future. You attain conviction so that if there are monies that were stolen, they will be brought back to the state. You attain conviction to punish those who indeed have caused such infractions or illegalities. Now, if you want to prosecute people, you prosecute with evidence supported by law. Now, His Excellency the President, in his media encounter, admitted there are a lot of the allegations that people have raised. You investigate them and you realize that there is nothing to say about it. The reason is simple. I mean, I tell people that his entire practice as a lawyer, perhaps is even older than my entire age. So he understands that you don't prosecute people with series of allegations, even though he used those allegations to come to power. He is now realizing that, look, as a lawyer of repute, I need to go back to the drawing board. So let us ensure the investigation is done. But I'm saying, why would you spend $500,000 to investigate an issue? Even before the auditing starts, you have pronounced people guilty. I really don't think
at the end of the day,
right.
I think the reality too is that we're using the media and the public courts to be the platform by which we pronounce people to have perhaps by their actions or inactions conducted themselves uncreditably in office.
You see, we cannot do anything and leave out the public. We are in government.
So you're saying it's all information that has been provided to the public?
Exactly. We are in government by the courtesy
One
of
way,
the public.
social commentators, party commentators, constantly
we are in government,
barraging people's reputations.
We are in government by courtesy of the public. And the public opinion cannot be discounted in governance issues. So it's about information management, how it comes out and how it goes. And don't be surprised when public get to know some kind of information and they just become, wow, what's happening? They are the major stakeholders. Indeed, the public owns the country and owns the resources. We, the politicians, the leadership, are mere caretakers and all that. So they must have an interest, a civil society organization. In other jurisdictions where we have vibrant civil society organizations, they push for some of these things, including bills into parliament and other kinds of things to be passed. And the public can, as it were, call for prosecution and investigations into matters of national interest. So for me, and it is not about today that public is showing interest in whatever is happening, public officials' engagements. What we need to do, and I think that's exactly what the government is doing, is to let the people of Ghana know the real state of affairs within our setups. SNIT is a public entity. We must throw the spotlight on public entities like SNIT. The sun must shine within. We must know what really is going on, whether it's positive or negative. And these are some of the aspects that has come out. I made reference to National Pension Regulatory Authority as far back as 2016. You were in government. Your appointees were there. And the NPRA made that catching very serious allegations in the reports. What did you say about it? Was it also witch hunting or something?
But I haven't said witch hunting yet.
Fine, of course. You haven't said, but you are impugning.
I think generally, there's been a concern that over the years, the investment of SNIT have not been, if you take a look at the contributions and the investment that have been made, over, they've not been profitable to the ordinary contributor.
So there is a general view
Yes, there's
that,
a general
that
view.
there's something wrong within SNIT.
Yes.
So what is so new? If a new government, a new board, a new administration comes,
Is it not his concern
and comes around and
that
say,
if you feel somebody is guilty or you suspect, that you adduce evidence and you put that evidence before the court and then the prosecution is made? Even unlike you have to go into the media, the public space, and then pronounce perceived judgments on people, thereby running down their reputations.
that is not the case. That is not the case. It might be his own thinking. You see, I'm coming. When NPRA in 2016 had come public, this public report, the report is a public property, impugning some kind of misguidance in SNIT. Were they on the scheme of tarnishing people's image? I've told you, this is a public entity. And I come, you hand over affairs of this place to me. I have a duty to tell the people, the owners of the place, what really there is. Inventory. And if you don't tell, if you don't let the people know, and something goes wrong, then you come around to claim what? Please, hold your fire. If there's going to be prosecution, we do know, everybody knows, that you go to court.
Do you think that even just hearing the news alone, that some $66 million has been used for procurement?
Said IT.
Okay.
That's what they said.
Okay,
IT.
and
For
IT software.
Yeah.
Does it sound alarming to you, even just to your ordinary mind?
Yeah,
Okay.
it does.
Okay.
It
So
does.
that's why there needs to be an audit.
Exactly.
Okay. Do you think that suspiciously, when you hear of the amount, it means that something untoward could have happened?
Yeah, the
Okay.
possibility.
Okay. So the possibilities are in your
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah,
So that's why we're calling for an audit.
exactly.
Why don't we rather commission the auditors to go in? After they have had their findings, we can go public. Wouldn't there have been perhaps a better way of even nabbing people?
No. That is your view.
Or that takes a long time. So,
Yeah, and that is your
so we
view.
have to satisfy people's curiosity,
You see,
the public curiosity. As
you
you say.
see, information given out. And indeed, these informations are out there already.
Or you're just giving a step-by-step process.
Exactly, step-by-step of processes. Nobody manufactured that figures and that information. They are of public notice, and they are there. So they are only just re-echoing what is there. And then the need, and indeed, you come out and say you are calling for auditing, forensic auditing or whatever the sort in SNIT. You must give some kind of reason. Why? What is prompting that?
Well, point made. Now, if you're on the front page, or if you're on the front page, as you react to, on the front page of Daily Guide, I know it's a tabloid though, but it says 2 NDC gurus, but we know that they're talking about Joshua Alabi, who took over as board chair of SNIT from former Finance Minister Kwame Pepra.
No, I mean, the issue has to do with at what time.
Please,
the approval.
Please say what they did, what you said.
I read that during the newspaper segment.
But I want to hear.
No,
I did not.
It's just some top. No, this one it's a tabloid, so they skew it in the political.
First and foremost,
But it's important.
I have never said, and I said this repeatedly, that there shouldn't be prosecution. No. First and foremost, I asked why we are spending $500,000.
Well, you've made that point.
Of my money.
Okay, let me explain that
please.
one to you. You are asking the question, and I represent the government here.
Why are you representing Senate?
Yes, of course. I'm here to represent the government.
Proceed.
And its entities. They are spending $500,000
Yes.
to make sure whatever perception is in there, whether wrongdoing or something have gone.
Why do we create a perception? Why don't we create facts by having a report of the audited agency?
No,
but that's okay. That's
Roland, I think he is not appreciating the gravitas of my point. What I said is that if you listen to the media interaction, specifically Joy FM, the impression was created that, in fact, we were told that in the bidding, in the competitive bidding, there were companies that bid about $3 million, some about $9 million. Yes, some about.
But it was in Ghana cedis.
Yes, some about 9 million Ghana cedis. And they questioned why they didn't give the contract to those companies. And I'm saying that perhaps they didn't give those contracts to those companies, because they believe that the company that has executed the project has the capacity. And I ask a question. Now, if you have an auditing firm that is charging $500,000, there could be other auditing firms that would charge. Please, can I finish?
That's your own figure.
I listen to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
In bidding, you always find companies that will quote higher figures, lower, depending on what they intend to do.
And it's not always the lowest.
Yes, it's not only the lowest. That's what I'm saying. It's not always the lowest, and that's a very good point.
Actually, it's actually not the lowest aspect at all.
The company
when
that,
you pick,
that can do the effective work.
Yes, when you bid low, you're likely not to get
that. Yeah. Perhaps I don't have the facts. He does.
So you are not speaking to the facts.
Can I finish?
You are speculating as well.
Oh,
it's speculating.
About what?
Then take away the word perhaps.
Let's wrap up on me. I want to change the subject. I want to do one district, one factory.
But you need to let him understand that when he's speaking, I listen to him. I mean, let's respect the viewing public. I beg you.
I'm just helping you.
I don't need your help.
Okay.
Thank you. You are not fit to give me that help. I'm saying that you have a company, they took that particular company. Perhaps they were convinced that this company would do an effective work. Now, if you look at the $500,000, there could be other companies that would take less. But maybe the current SNIT management feels that these people will do us a good job than a company that will give us a lower bid than what we are paying for. That is the reason why I made that point. But I come back to another point.
So you're making that point because of the logic?
Exactly, and I'm saying that it would have been fair to feed the public with the right and absolute information. You don't get one side of the story, and that is why I asked the question, did Joy make the effort to get the other management, the former management? If they did, why? Is it that they refused to come? If they didn't, why did they refuse to come? And I shudder to think they didn't. Because if they refused to come, we would have been told that we took steps. Because remember, this story is been running. But I come back to that same point, that I have had this information. I am not saying it's an absolute truth. I would expect the media to investigate whether the procurement authority in May signed a contract for an IT solution costing about $79 million. I think it is of concern to us. We have never said don't investigate anybody. But if you think that I suspect...
So you're calling for equalization?
No. If you think that I suspect something wrong happened...
You're not calling for equalization? No. You're saying because the SSNIT is bad, this one should be bad?
No, it is... I said, look, this one they should audit. They should investigate.
They should investigate Acting Chairman of the MPP says government is committed to attracting real investment into the country with this one district, one factory. We know the president will be inaugurating a sample of a factory in the Kumfi. And then he decided to tag that saying that this is what we are talking about. Not the $26 million Commander Sugar Factory, which was a waste of taxpayers' money by former President John Mahama.
Why should you take a bellicose and disputatious national chairman of the MPP?
But that's great insult.
Please.
It's not fair language.
Why? Why? Disputatious is not an insult. He is engaged in a lot of controversies, even over
I understand the language.
I understand. So it is not an insult. No. So don't create that impression. No. Disputatious.
No, it's not. Anyway,
disputatious is not an insult.
No, I understand the meaning.
So why would you say?
Let's simplify
no, but I
the
don't
language.
say it's an insult. That's not fair to me. It's an English word, and even his position. There were a lot of contestations over it, is it not?
Yes, true.
So if I say that, why should that be seen as an insult? So you are not being fair to me.
Go ahead.
I'm saying that I thought there is a minister in charge of that. The minister is on record, particularly specifically on Class FM, to have admitted that yes, the NDC started this project. But she asked, if NDC started something and MPP is continuing, what is wrong with that? Strictly speaking, there wouldn't be anything wrong with that. But there is everything wrong with that when you have a government that is not sincere to the people of this country. He hasn't said anything. He said, we spent $26 million. And the commander, that is an absolute falsehood. It's not even true. He doesn't even know how much was spent in it.
How much did you spend?
Yes, the figures are there. $35 million was spent on the factory, and another $24 million for irrigation, which we have approved in Parliament, including my friend, which they have gone for. What did they use the money for? But I will come to that.
You mean for the outgrower?
Yes, I would come to that. If you look at the Ekonfi Sugar Factory, these guys, this government, they think Ghana is like a Cartoon Network. You know, in the Cartoon Network, everything you say, kids will believe. Ghana is beyond that. And I can understand why they are groping around like a drunk. who came home after a long night of partying and drinking, looking for his bed to
Again,
sleep.
your language. I don't seem to like your
If
language.
a drunk comes home, someone who is a drunkard.
Why do you have to make such allusions in the narrative?
Why? Parables are not accepted in communication. A drunkard who went for a party, a long night party, got drunk and came home looking for his bed to sleep, you can understand how he'll be groping around. And that is how this government is groping around, to find a means to justify the promises they made that they could not fulfill. In 2013, we have a body called CEDICOM, Central Region Development Corporation, with the government of NDC and the Minister of Trade, including the regional coordinating, Onion coordinating directorate and the district. Then Honorable Sapon was the regional minister. Now, we felt that some few people were engaged in the production of pineapple in the area. And if you understand, Central Region is the fourth poorest region in Ghana after the three northern regions. So we decided that we needed to provide some livelihood for the people. So what we thought we were doing was to boost the production of pineapple. Now, you can only boost the production of pineapple if the people are given some assistance. We got 1.2 million Ghana cedis from JICA and assisted 277 smallholder farmers, which is an evolving fund, because as and when they produce, they pay, and other farmers are also given the money. And that encouraged and increased the production of pineapple. And the second leg of it was that if we have huge productions of pineapple, we are then going to have a processing companies, a factories that will process the pineapples into finished product. As recent as 2015, Honorable Dr. Spilgabra, my former boss, met traditional authorities and stakeholders in a conflict and indicated that that is what we're going to do immediately after the elections. Unfortunately, we lost an elections. You have a private person who is taking advantage of the opportunities that we have created. And by the way, it is not just only land. Even the pineapple growing, the fact that it has been expanded, were all created by us. Then you have a private person who wants to take advantage of the opportunity, invited government to come and commission, and that has suddenly become one district, one factory. Now, the reason why that they are failing to acknowledge that it was something that the NDC started, because the moment they acknowledge, then it will cease to be captured as one district, one factory. And Roland, there is a reason. You were involved in this paperless thing. We started the thing not today. And in fact, we expedite action because we
Which you call it? You're talking about the port?
Yes, the port. They have done nothing into it. Yet they are taking credit for it. What I'm simply saying is that don't tell me, because that's what I have heard, the narrative. The narrative has now changed. Initially, they said it was a PPP. They have thrown that to the dustbin.
It's still a PPP. The president is there.
Please. They said that their one district, one factory was going to be state-led. I attended the Saito school. State-led doesn't mean that you should just go on commission and that becomes one district, one factory. And I'm saying that the minister in charge admitted that NDC started and that if they want to continue, what is wrong with that? And Roland, we are making this position bearing in mind the consistency in some of the lies that have been peddled. And at the end of the day, we had problems with them. A classical example. When His Excellency the President had the State of the Nation's address, he said that I have gotten some facility, money is $140 million, from my Canadian friends to be used to implement planting for food and jobs. When I pointed out to him and to the people that that was falsehood, because that facility, which was secured by the NDC, could not be used to implement planting for food and jobs. If you have a Canadian government that gives you a facility, you can only use it to do things for which the facility was given. As we see today, am I not vindicated? The planting for food and jobs is on its knees. They haven't been able to access that money because they can't access that money to use it for it. They had to ask Agri-Development Bank and Universal Merchant Bank to cough $100 million, which is $450 million to implement this, if they had listened. So that is the reason. And then people will tell you that, okay, if NDC started and people want to continue, what is wrong? Sincerity is sine qua non to democratic dispensation. Now, if you are being sincere, and that is why I made the point earlier, we are talking about corruption, we are talking about illegal things because public holder office and politicians are not being sincere.
Yes, at the end of the day, we know that this is a flagship program. Just even look at the artwork. Mutala, turn and watch the artwork.
Yes.
It looks nice.
Government is not spending even a dime in it. Why? Don't you know that?
Well, that's why it's an initiative by the private sector, but also led by the state.
Why?
PPP.
Roland, I've gotten the wind from my colleague and his other colleagues. They just want the credit. They want the funds. That is given to you.
No, we are not looking for credit.
Please.
We are saying that this is not one district.
To you. You asked me.
You now
earlier,
see how it feels.
You asked me earlier to keep quiet.
Okay,
so
thank
better do the honorable thing and keep quiet.
It's good you are
and listen to good reasons. You see, you want the credit, take it. The President Akufo-Addo is interested in the results of what comes out, what benefit the people. Ekumfi growing pineapples around Ekumfi and all that it predates me and you, our ages. It has been ancient times that they've been growing pineapples over there. Then this so-called SEDICOM intervention, 1 million. Oh yes, of course, because prior to SEDICOM intervention, they were growing their pineapples.
But who said they were not growing pineapples?
Yeah, you are impugning. Please. You want us to understand that it is NDC government that introduced pineapple growing at Ekumfi. That is what you're trying to say. You said you started everything.
I'm sorry, that's not what I'm trying to say.
Then
so don't put words in my mouth.
Please,
I never said.
please, so you have a rebuttal.
No, but if you say
for your account, for all that you narrated, Ekumfi began planting pineapples because
I don't think he said that.
That's the inference.
Or you are summarizing what he said to me.
That was the inference. Otherwise, you wouldn't just say we started everything. What did you start? What did you start?
You want me to tell you?
Yes, of course.
Okay,
you started planting.
No, that's
listen,
okay.
You started planting pineapples. That's not all you're talking about.
It's not true.
That's all you're talking about.
Didn't say
but have you started any factory there?
But we've never said
Is there a factory structure over there? No. The answer is no.
Okay. So you're saying that, so when did the factory spring up? Just in the last 7 months?
The factory is it's about to be constructed.
No. The factory is about to be constructed. So they're cutting salt for the construction of the factory.
That is
how much is government spending?
Oh, please. I said keep quiet and listen to good reason.
Oh, the reason.
You see, the factory is about to be started. So what did your government start doing? What did you? That you are so much wanting.
Did I tell you?
Please, you said it over and over. You said you said you started the project. What aspect of the project did you start?
The land, the pineapple production.
Good.
You want to know more? You want to know more?
Thank you. So without your intervention, there were no pineapple over there.
Okay. So
that is what you...
Mutala, so the land on which the factory will be built was facilitated.
Hold on.
It's being secured, was facilitated by SEDICOM.
Yes, let me tell him one thing. You see, I have never said that the people were not producing.
So then, full stop. It's my time.
You made that point.
You made your point. Now, thank you. So you are with me.
You facilitate. You say yes.
So now you are with me.
But they facilitated the acquisition of the land.
Are you talking?
And they created the atmosphere because they consolidated outgrower
and provided money.
Beautiful.
Yes, outgrower. It will only be there if there's no money. It means there's a scheme.
Beautiful. When Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, during the campaign, we talked about
he facilitated outgrower.
One district, one factory. No, when we were talking about it, we made it clear, and we continue to make it clear, that communities, areas, will be encouraged to have these factories where they have comparative advantage of the raw material base.
Wow.
That is one critical ingredient. So now, Ekumfi and its surrounding areas are known to be pineapple growers, and a government intervention or SEDICOM intervention has gone to wipe up the enthusiasm. So now we have commercial quantities. I'm coming. We have commercial quantities. So then they have comparative advantage. A factory can be put there. Then you have a private entity that says, yeah, look, the congenial environment created by this new government with its initiative of one district, one factory, going to facilitate credit. Acquisition of credit.
Where?
Very essential.
From the banks. They can
from
get
the banks, yes.
It's not doing that.
It's a
because
package.
the interest rates are all going down.
Yes, interest rates going down. It's a package. You don't understand the whole concept.
You do.
You are asking the contribution of government in here.
Nothing.
Zero. Government's policy on this is going to facilitate cheap and easy access to credit, which is very, very,
based on the instrumental role government is playing to make sure the fundamentals macroeconomically are reduced.
Exactly. That is one aspect.
Well,
and then the second aspect,
I'm feeding into
and the second aspect on the same line is that those who will be engaging in this one district, one factory, the secretariat headed by Honorable Kusi will champion their cause in getting these credits, access to these credits, as fast and at minimum cost.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
Yeah, go ahead.
So let's say the pineapple factory that is going to be built.
Yeah.
If the owner of, or the one who is starting this whole initiative, of course it's a private sector person, wants some credit from UMB or let's say the Agri Development Bank, what would be government's role? Would it take some letters from government?
Intervention and all that?
Yes.
You get to the secretariat, they have banks.
Would they get, let's say, a letter from government, which usually in the industry term will be called an LC or something?
Well, you go to the secretariat and the listings are there. What the secretariat...
So there's a whole secretariat that's going to assist you.
Exactly, assist private enterprise. Even if today you conceive an idea, you can go there. They will help you to formulate it into action plan. And then all these things, segments, financial, technical, and all those things will be accorded you. That is the import of it. Now,
so it means that there could be a district in which, if there's no private sector person that has the intuition, 2, has the resource, and 3, has the will to do anything, it means that that place could be fallow.
No. You see, private...
Because we have many districts in which we don't have proper raw materials.
Yes, of course.
Even for the subsistence farming that is undertaken agriculturally, it cannot be sustainable to feed a factory.
Exactly. If it cannot, why do you put a factory at a place where you cannot get the raw materials?
Actually, you're not going to get any resource at all.
Exactly.
So what do you do in that district? Because we're supposed to have every district having a factory.
There are a lot more of products.
Could be fishing.
It could be fishing. It could be
handicraft. Could be something.
Yes, of course. It could be anything. So they have been taxed. The district assemblies have been taxed to look up for their potential. Yeah, look up potential.
Curiously, aren't we going to have just a phenomenon in which existing companies and existing lines of business operations will just be mainstream into this whole initiative of one district, one factory, and then we'll assume that there are new businesses that have been created?
Yeah, if you have existing businesses and they are in distress, they are a point of
You get the import of my question?
Yes, I got it. And they are the point of extinction. They are a point of collapsing. And you breathe new life into them. So be it. If you have
so it doesn't become one day. So you never created them. You're only consolidating.
Of course, and it's to the benefit of the people. You see, the import of it. That's why I said the president is results-oriented. What is all these things about?
Because I'm asking this question knowing that there are many semi-businesses and factories that are located in many districts across the country. So already we have existence of some small-scale business activities ongoing. If they are roped into the initiative, then Ghanaians will be told that they fall under one district. Of course, they've been in existence. That's what I wanted to know.
They've been in existence. They may be distressed. Okay. They may be needing some kind of expansion. So if this initiative gets them and then brings them back to life and is expanded, and the people of Ghana benefit from them, then we will be able to turn our raw materials into finished products. That is all that is needed.
I'll give you only a minute. I give you only 1 minute.
One thing about the commander. You talked about my acting chairman, about Commander Sugar Factory.
That's for Blay. That's for Blay. You are not Blay. You are not. Are you standing for national chairman?
Yes. No. I'm here for him. I'm here for the party.
You've killed it.
No,
You've killed Commander. Now let's move. Let's move to. Let's move to.
Roland, we have to. You are not going to be fair to your viewing public if he's talking about.
No, you mean I'm not being fair to you?
No,
you mean I'm not being fair to you?
No, not me. I mean to your viewing public. talking about the commander.
Mutala, don't blackmail me.
No, he's talking about the
Mutala,
commander.
let's talk about Exton Cubic.
Roland,
Let's talk about
Exton. Can I make this point? You see, he's making reference to the commander because you read it. The commander sugar factory was in twofold. The first one was the $35 million.
And 1 year on.
For the setting up of the
one year on.
Please.
You promised 7,000 jobs.
Respect the viewing public if you won't respect us. For God's sake.
1 year on. It's a certain day. And you spend taxpayers' money to build this factory, and the president went there to inaugurate it, telling the whole of us that 7,000 jobs has been created and that people are going to work there.
Are you done?
As we speak today.
Are you done?
Now with the same thing with the SNIT.
But it means that commander can be roped into one district, one factory.
No.
You see.
Roland,
yes, it's existing, but it's distressed.
You need to stem your authority. You ask me.
We need to reactivate.
I have an authority.
So tell him to let me make the point.
You have only 1 minute.
Yes,
unfortunately.
I will. The project was in two folds. We got the money from the Indian Exim Bank. $35 million was supposed to use to set up the factory. We used that in setting up the factory. The contractor was supposed to finish work in December 2016. The contractor finished work in June 2016. And in handing over, they needed to test run to tell you that the work you have asked me to do, I have done here.
That's not what we're told.
No, that was what happened. We started the...
Yeah, I know that's all.
Yes, I'm just saying, no, that's what we're told. That was there. We said the factory is working. However, we went in and triggered the other leg of the loan, which was the $24 million, to be used for the irrigation. Even before we got that money, we had 20,000 acres for the seedlings. We approved that loan in October 2016 before we rose. We came back, this government is in power. Find out what they have done with that $24 million.
Have they accessed?
They should tell us.
Have you accessed?
No, they should tell us.
I'm not sure they will.
Because, listen, they should tell us, if we approve the loan in Parliament, you need to access the loan.
Yes.
You need to go in for it.
Yes.
You haven't gone in for the loan, or you have gone in for the loan to use it for a different purpose. Tell us. If you can talk about it, tell us.
So let me tell
if Commander Factory is not doing anything, this government should be answering those questions.
Look at him.
Have you gone for the money?
All right.
Have you gone?
Look at him. You told us June. You said it takes 4 months.
You are repeating yourself. That's okay.
You said
now let's talk
months.
about. I have only 10 minutes, or 5 minutes. But let's quickly talk about Exton Cubic.
Yeah. And
now there's a press conference that was held, and the communication person for the company said they are losing 40,000 Ghana cedis. Dollars. They said they had the approvals, but the EPA also comes in, and the other sectoral agencies come in and say, look, you need to check yourself. Really.
I listened to the EPA and I was shocked. I mean, the kind of pronouncements.
You work with Exton Cubic?
No.
So what are you shocked about?
Must I work with Exton Cubic to be shocked? Do you work with SNIT?
I'm not shocked.
So aren't you shocked about the 66 million? So why would you ask me if I say I'm shocked? I am shocked about the response.
He's shocked because he's a contributor.
So does he work with SNIT?
I don't like your heckling.
I am shocked because
I was thinking Mutala rather will be heckling, but you rather are heckling.
You are thinking I'll be heckling?
Yeah, you've changed.
I'm growing. Okay. But some have refused to grow, actually.
All right.
So I'm saying that I was shocked because of the response. Now, if you look at all the allegations that are made, you don't have authorization to do ABCD. You don't have this. We were told that they got the license under the NDC government, and therefore it ought not be. And it has indeed emerged that some of the licenses that they have gotten, they got them under this government. You listen to the regional minister and the DC, and you'll be shocked that the very government that claims that they are creating the enabling environment, even though they presented their budget in March, and by August they finished creating the enabling environment for factories to spring up, they are creating the enabling environment. Are indeed having a problem with a business person because that person has some relationship with the president, the former president. The Exton Cubic is not for Ibrahim Mahama. And I read in one of the papers, they say Ibrahim Mahama is losing. It's not. He was asked to go and do the work. He has the capacity to do that work. Exton Cubic has actually contracted him to do a particular work. So why had that suddenly become Ibrahim Mahama's work? Now, he got the licenses starting from what's the name, 2013. 2013, due diligence was done. And remember that this was not restrictive tendering. This was competitive bidding that was done. His company was chosen.
Please.
Yes.
Please, don't say what you don't know.
Why?
There was no competitive bidding.
That is an absolute lie.
Oh, please.
Don't sit on set and lie.
Please.
That is an absolute
Do you know whether there was competitive?
There are documents to that effect.
Okay.
That is an absolute
That's indicating the other companies
they
that
were,
also.
those companies were even mentioned. Those companies were mentioned. You sit here, you look straight into the faces of people and lie.
I haven't heard that.
In the press conference?
I am saying that those companies were mentioned. You have a responsibility
Go ahead.
investigate it and shame me or shame him.
Okay.
And when you get the information, put it out there.
I'll check my pattern and give you a call if it's true.
No, don't give me a call. Tell your viewing public.
Okay. But
Shame
I can
me or
still give
shame
you a
him.
call.
I'm saying that the company,
We're
there
good
was
friends,
bidding. They were bidding about 4 companies. And his company was selected, and that is why I wanted.
Company?
Please, Exton Cubic was selected. Exton Cubic was selected, and that is why I wanted to just get.
And his,
I'm saying Exton company.
You said his company
Exton Cube is owned by.
So
people.
now
that company
they are
was
complaining
selected.
the equipment are stuck.
Yes. On what basis did they indeed impound the equipment? On what basis? The equipments were not anywhere near even where the thing was going to be done. So why would they do that? Now, if they are losing money, I expect them to go to court. And we should have judgment debt at hand. Because that was absolutely reckless. And the regional minister's statement, you listen to communicators of this government, is sheer hatred and jealousy because the Exton Cubic company has given a contract to a company that is owned by the brother to the former president. I mean, I think that, is that the kind of country we want to build? Is this what you call enabling environment, where you expect private entities to do well? So the private entities enabling environment is created to support certain entities, and other entities must be ramshackled. And I really don't think that that is the way to go. So if you sit here and you tell me that it wasn't competitive tendon, then God save us.
I'll go and find out.
Find out and shame your shaming.
You see, I've restrained myself so much going into this because of the peculiar nature of my profession.
What's your profession?
Natural resource management. Aside being a lawyer in petroleum law.
Yes, I know you have a master's in
natural resource management. Yes.
Are we here to talk about what we have?
No,
I also know you have double, triple masters.
But
Mutala, I know you very well.
But you see, I'm saying I'm trying to
make your
myself.
point. It's not necessary.
It's necessary.
Sit there and tell people what you have.
It's necessary. And now the matter is before the president now. I wouldn't want to preempt any kind of thing. But you see, in an attempt to defend the indefensible.
Which is in the indefensible.
Please.
Don't heckle him.
In an attempt to defend the indefensible, you may end up putting the company in more trouble. You do not know, you are not aware that when this same company got an exploration license.
Which company?
Exton Cubic.
I should tell us. There are 2 companies here. We're talking about engineers and planners, and we're talking about.
And which one, in your estimation, which one owns permit?
Exton Cubic. Tell me.
So then.
No, you could.
So then.
I know you people.
So then, keep quiet.
You put up a lot of lawsuits. So
keep quiet. Under your regime, this company had been permitted to go and do exploration or prospecting. They abused the permit.
How?
And they were driven out of the forest.
How?
Go and check.
Oh,
you do not know.
That's
why I'm telling you. I don't want to go into nitty-gritties of
how.
They were driven out of the forest.
But you work with the Forestry Commissioner?
I do not.
Okay.
And I want to end here. No more comment.
Maxwell Agbagba is in Sierra Leone, but we'll be with him very soon. I've been in the studio with Murtala Mohammed, former member of Parliament for Nantong, but also a former Deputy Minister for Trade. Will you be contesting that seat again, the primaries?
Oh yes, I mean the people have taken out a color TV and brought a black and white. So I think that they've been yearning for me to come.
All right, and then Henry Kwabena Kokofu is a member of Parliament for Bantama. I don't know whether he'll go in for Bantama.
I thought they were still only speeches. So they are now still in different projects.
Oh, God.
And Chairman Kokofu, there's the grapevine is that you're contesting for the regional chairmanship of Ashanti. Is it true?
He's a fine gentleman. I mean,
I'll not comment.
All right. Maxwell Agbagba.
So what?
Maxwell, yes, I'll be in Cape Coast.
So what?